Whatever happened is a great Kate-centric episode. I love the parallel storylines regarding Kate and Ben, as well as Kate and Aaron, all with contrasting emotional beats. And you really feel bad for Aaron too. This wasn't the first time he was left by his mother. Some have wondered if Richard Malkin's premonition about danger surrounding Aaron without Claire's goodness had any truth to it.
So what exactly are you saying?
This child, parented by anyone else, anyone other than you. Danger surrounds this baby.
Danger?
Your nature, your spirit, your goodness.
But seeing the events that followed was being left in the jungle alone, surviving a helicopter crash, and then not being able to get breast milk for a long duration of time, which is dangerous for babies where they can develop several diseases and increased risk of necrotizing enterocolitis. And then he'd been raised by someone else with no father figure, and the one he gets starts drinking and their relationship breaks, and then he's left with a stranger. Yes, danger has surrounded him in the past 3 years. The character development of Kate now is to find Claire and reunite him with Aaron, a storyline that has its various beats throughout season 6, and seemingly a happy conclusion, since the show suggests that Claire reunites with Aaron after the show is over and can continue raising him. The importance of Aaron in this episode has its ripples throughout season 6, so I'm curious when people complain about Aaron not being important, when so much of the stories surround him, especially this season. My headcanon is also that the long time without breast milk might have given him some diseases, so Hurley would invite him and Claire for a visit to the island in the future, just so he can get healed. Let's get back to the episode. We're at the end of day 2, the fire is put out and Horace makes a speech.
LaFleur's got search parties out, but the hostel's got a good jump on us. We're pretty sure he used this fire as a diversion in order to escape.
Jin puts Ben in his van and drives him back to the barracks, and as he drives in, Roger and Kate take out the burned out van. Ben is put under Juliet's care. I guess it's that the Dharma medical team just let her take care of medical situations now. They've been very occupied with him for the entire night. By now, Saeed has just sprinted far into the jungle. Kate has a weird movement towards the security office. She first goes here, maybe asks for James or where the security office is, and then heads down here and talks to LaFleur.
What the hell are you doing here?
That was Ben. That kid who was shot was Ben. Was it Saeed?
Phil, Horace, Jin and Miles come along. Then LaFleur and Miles head over here.
Find Jack and Hurley and Kate as quick as you can. Put them in the house and sit on them. What for? Because I don't want them talking to anybody else. Things are starting to spin out of control here.
All right, I got it.
All right, go.
LaFleur goes into the infirmary, Miles goes around to find Jack, Kate and Hurley, and then gather them up in this house over here. Despite Juliet's best efforts, young Ben is losing too much blood. She requests Jack help since he is a surgeon. LaFleur goes to the house arrest house.
Doc, I need you to come with me.
Come with you where?
Juliet said the kid's losing blood and we ain't got nothing to put back in him, so we need you to show us where he sprung a leak.
Jack refuses. LaFleur goes back. Then Kate leaves and offers to give blood to help. You might ask, if she is a universal blood donor, why didn't she donate blood when Boone was dying?
I asked the whole sodding camp. No one knows their blood type. I don't know my bloody blood type.
That's an easy answer. Charlie went to the beach and asked everyone about their blood type, but Kate wasn't at the beach. She was in the jungle, helping Claire. At that point, he didn't know where she was. That's why she couldn't do it. Roger comes in and Kate says this.
You could stay with me, and you could check on Ben, and Roger here could keep me company, make sure I don't pass out.
This episode started with really creepy theory that Kate Austin and Roger Linus would have a baby together. This humorous theory got tossed around on the forums and even wound up on the official Lost podcast.
Speaking of Kate, there is definitely some chemistry between Kate and Roger Linus. Kate initials are KA for Kate Austin. Roger's are RL for Roger Linus. Put together KARL. That spells Carl. Does this mean that these two are going to give birth to Carl?
Oh my God. If only
Answer the question,
If only
Carlton.
we had thought... Okay, people ask us sometimes, like, is there anything that ever gets pitched that you wish you did on the show? And the answer is, now there has been something pitched that I wish we did on the show. But sadly, Carl has come and gone, and it's really impossible, even with the vehicle of time travel, to retcon that he is the son of Roger and Kate. But it's kind of a genius idea.
That would be a Ret Carl.
A Ret Carl, yes.
Meanwhile, Miles tries to explain time travel to Hurley, and he says something interesting.
If all this already happened to me, then why don't I remember any of it?
Because once Ben turned that wheel, time isn't a straight line for us anymore.
How does Miles know about the frozen wheel? In the season 4 finale, Daniel deduces what is going to happen if Ben goes to the Orchid Station. Daniel had been researching the initiative and knew about the station and what it experimented on. When the time flashing and island moving happened, he knew that Ben did something in the Orchid that caused it.
Whatever Ben Linus did down at the Orchid Station, I think it may have dislodged us.
But he never mentioned the wheel. There is a possibility that Daniel did come across the wheel during the research, but this information didn't seem like something Dharma Initiative informed you about. They didn't drill into the frozen chamber. However, Daniel could find some records about the polar bears turning a wheel, and Daniel put 2 and 2 together and told this to the time travelers in an off-screen scene, that there is a wheel at the Orchid, and that was likely the thing that he pulled to cause the time travel. Maybe he realized this while they were living at the barracks. There's a second possibility I can think of, and that is that this information didn't come from Daniel, but from someone dead. If Miles heard it from someone on the island, then I would propose a theory. Remember when they went to the Swan site? While the group were leaving to the beach in Because You Left, Miles could have sensed another body. The body of Radzinski. He's actually buried near the Swan, since Kelvin only had 108 minutes to bury him. Therefore he's not too far away. Radzinski's mind was all over the place, and maybe he was thinking about the time travelers, realizing who they really were, and thinking about the wheel and the time travel and the Orchid and all of that, realizing that the people he worked with, LaFleur, Miles, and so on, had time traveled all along, and then he shot himself. Another alternative, it could be someone from the others who died. Juliet sends Roger to the medical station, so he takes a Dharma van and leaves. Juliet says this to Kate.
What about the sub? I mean, can we take him somewhere?
No, it's gone. It won't be back for a couple of months.
In an off-screen scene in Ann Arbor, Daniel Faraday sees this image, and they quickly change their plans. The scientists will travel with a sub to the island to assist them in the drilling of the Swan station. As a last resort, Juliet tells Kate to take him to the others. LaFleur gets wind of it and catches up to her just inside the sonic fence to help her save young Ben. And Kate says something that is easy to miss. The line.
The line's just right over there, right? The others are on the other side?
Well, they ain't right on the other side.
Is she talking about the one from season 2? But it doesn't make sense that the others would be on the other side of the line, because when Tom Friendly talked about the line, he said they couldn't cross it, so that on the other side of the line you have the others area, which included the barracks. But the others don't live at the barracks right now. Kate's comment wouldn't fit since they are already on the other side of the line. But luck would have it, they are not talking about the line. One of the others in this episode mentions the line too. Therefore I believe that during their orientation at the barracks, they are giving a few instructions about areas where they can't cross. Areas that are controlled by the hostiles. Let me draw a proposal. This area over here should be completely controlled by the others, land that they own. So there's a line here, as well as this one. I would also argue that the entire flank over here would be part of their land, since it has the ruins and the season 6 well, and no Dharma stations, and the lighthouse is over here, the crater area, the cliffside cave, and so on. And you can see that there's more of a bend over here, which is the mistake that Amy and Paul did. Even though a lot of the valleys are free for the Dharma initiative, the couple managed to venture into hostile territory. The only thing that Dharma was allowed to build here was the looking glass station at sea, and pulling a cable down this area, so it connects with the rest of the electrical framework. This could explain the weird placement of some of the stations, like why the flame and the looking glass are so far apart. And a fourth area that is off limits would be here, near this Cerberus vent. It would include the caves and that haunted spot where the cabin sometimes appear at. This area is where they broke the rules, where they built the Swan station. LaFleur and Kate continue walking in others' territory, potentially on this side over here. By now, Roger has reached the medical station, and in an off-screen scene, he's gonna gather a lot of tools for Juliet. LaFleur and Kate have a talk, and then the others find them.
Don't worry, I got him right where we want him.
Shut up and keep moving.
What's it look like I'm doing?
Richard Alpert comes out. He takes Ben out and warns them that this will make Ben become one of them. Just to clarify one thing, it's not that this was a simple switch for Ben, that this one act turned him from good to bad. He was already an emotionally damaged kid from years of abuse of his father, abuse that he remembered, as evident in how he decided to gas him himself. This was just the final push towards the others. Another thing about the episode is that the focal point of this story is about Ben and Aaron, and I love the differences between them. One being born on the island and leaving, while the other is the opposite, and both weren't raised by their birth mother. However, Aaron's story stops at the age of 3. We have to fill in the blanks, but I do think that Aaron will return to the island. Maybe because of a disease he has that needs to be healed, which can be emphasized by Ben being healed at the end of this episode. But most importantly, when he is a grown man, he might be a leader. He might become the next Ben. After all, he's the little prince. Richard walks over here, while the others escort James and Kate back to the line, from where they will find a way back to the barracks. Richard enters this area and takes Ben through a door in the temple wall. In an off-screen scene, he will take Ben to the spring. Dogen was the temple leader in 2007, but I don't think he was that in the 70s, since he's just too young for that. Someone else is taking charge at the temple. After Ben has been placed in the pool, the bullet wound would heal, just like it did with Saeed, and Richard would take him back over here. I believe that the hostiles have put their campsite over here, on this side of the island. It's an area with little activity. Rodzinski was adamant on getting a map to the hostiles, so he doesn't know where they are. He hasn't stumbled upon them, so I don't think they are close by a temple, since the Dharma Initiative knows about the temple, as evident from the logo here, and they have some stations in this area. It could be down here, but I think it's too far, since we have to account for a large activity going on here at the dock. I'll settle for this area. This is a new location on the show, since it's not the same place where we saw them set up tents in the later part of season 3. But we'll get into that next week. Next week is a big mythological episode. If you want to, please like, share and subscribe to this channel, since that really helps a very small channel like this one. We'll see you in a week.